Jackson for Maine if you want to win this. Thank you so much. Listen, I got the real honor and privilege of being able to introduce someone that 10, 12 years ago, whenever like my heart was in a bad place, he brought me back. Someone that showed me that it is possible to build a movement of everyday people and win. And someone that has been trying to fix what has been broken in D.C. for far, far too long. Someone that has honestly made me believe again. I mean, I would not be here today run for governor if this person didn't, put the spirit back in me. Someone that has kept that fight forever and has never given up and shown other people that you shouldn't give up. And really, it's an honor, and I am so thankful for that person that has showed the way. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome my friend, Senator Bernie Sanders. Thank you, Portland. In case you haven't noticed, there are a lot of people here tonight. Let me thank Josh Ritter for the music, Molly Wright, healthcare worker, and Brian Bryant and the entire union movement here in Maine. Jordan Rosignol. And your next governor, Troy Jackson. It is really an honor to be with you tonight and to tell you that in the last number of months, I have traveled all over this country. We have been to 15 states, and now I can say from Maine to California. And a lot of states in between. And we've talked to over 300,000 people. And what I can tell you without any fear of contradiction is the American people do not want an oligarchic form of government. They do not want an authoritarian form of government. They do not want to live under a kleptocracy where a president gets rich by being president. And they sure as hell are sick and tired of the ongoing war of the rich against the working class of this country. This is an unprecedented
and in fact dangerous moment in American history. And we have got to respond in an unprecedented way. And the way we respond is to build the kind of strong, progressive, grassroots movement, the likes of which this country has never seen. Now, the Trump playbook is not complicated. He does what demagogues historically have always done and are doing today. He's not the only one. And what they do is, in a nation and a world in trouble, where people are hurting, where people are saying, what's going on? Why am I struggling to put food on the table? Why am I struggling to pay for rent or child care or medical care? He says, I know the answer. And the answer is it's them. It's that group of people, that minority, politically powerless group of people. They are the cause of all of your problems. Nothing new there. This has gone on. This is what demagogues have done forever. In Europe, it was Jews, it was gypsies. In this country, it's been the blacks, the gays, you name it. Always a powerless minority, and then you blame them for all of the problems. Now, I was, sadly, at Trump's inauguration. And I sat in the front row, not any further away than where you guys are. And what I saw on that day, something I'll never forget, standing right beside Trump, right behind him, were the three wealthiest people in this country. Mr. Musk, Mr. Bezos, and Mr. Zuckerberg. And then, sitting behind them, like 15 other billionaires that Trump had nominated to head up major federal agencies. And honestly, what I was thinking then, I'm not a great historian, but I really was thinking about American history, and I was thinking back to Abraham Lincoln in Gettysburg. And many of you remember that a few days after that terrible, terrible battle, that enormously important battle against slavery, when so many soldiers died, Abraham Lincoln, a few days later, goes to the battlefield. And he looks around him and he said, these men have not died in vain. And we have a vision of America that we're not going to give up on. And that vision is a government of the people. That is our vision. And when I was sitting there in the inaugural, looking at all of these billionaires, what I was thinking is their vision is very different. The Trump idea of government is a government of the billionaire class, by the billionaire class, and we ain't gonna let that happen. Now, the truth of the matter is that real politics, when you really start thinking about it, ain't complicated. It's about asking a few questions. Where are we today? How did we get here? How can we move forward? What is our vision of the future of America? Where do we want to go? And unfortunately, in the corporate media, we don't discuss these issues too much, and we surely don't do that in the halls of Congress. So let me say a few words about where we are. It's easy to talk about Russia being an oligarchic society. They are. Easy to talk about Putin being one of the richest people in the world. He is. Well, guess what? In a nation in which we have a handful of billionaires controlling our economy, controlling our media, controlling our government, we are living in an oligarchy, and that is the struggle we have got to take on. Today in America, we have more income and wealth inequality than we have ever had in the history of the United States of America. Now, you don't see this discussed on TV, and very few people in Congress talk about it. But if you can believe it, and do believe it because it's true, you got one guy, Mr. Musk, who owns more wealth than the bottom 52% of American households. Can you believe that? One man. You got the top 1% owning more wealth than the bottom 93%. You got CEOs of large corporations now making over 350 times more than their average employees. You know, over the last 50 years, there's been huge transitions in the economy. I was mayor of Burlington, Vermont, the early 80s. And when I got into City Hall, we didn't have any computers. There were no computers then. And for the young people, there was once a time there were no cell phones. Hard to believe, but it's true. My point is that over that 50 years, been a huge explosion in technology. Worker productivity has greatly expanded. The average worker today is producing a lot more than he or she did 50 years ago. But you know what? Despite all of that huge increase in worker productivity, the average weekly wage in inflation adjusted for dollars today is lower than it was 50 years ago. When I was a kid, it was the norm. And I grew up in a working class family. I grew up in a home where we lived in a rent-controlled apartment. Thank God, or my family would not have survived. In those days, despite that, in most working class homes, one person in the family could go out and work 40 hours a week and make enough money to pay the bills. Am I right? All right. So you got all of this explosion in technology, all of this creation of new wealth. What the hell happened? Well, I will tell you what happened. There was a study done by the Rand Corporation, not exactly a socialist organization. And what they found is that during that period, there was a $75 trillion transfer of wealth from the bottom 90% to the top 1%. So you got all this technology, all this increase in worker productivity, and the end result is the people on top today have never, ever had it so good. Now that's one reality. Rich getting richer, never had it so good. But it's not just income and wealth inequality. It's not even just concentration of ownership in sector after sector in our economy, whether it's agriculture, transportation, financial services. You got a small number of huge corporations owning those sectors, determining what price you pay for products and how workers are treated. But it's not even just that. These guys not only own the economy, they now own our corrupt political system. So as a result of this disastrous Citizens United Supreme Court decision, they said, billionaires, hey, you have the freedom to own the American political system, and the billionaires responded accordingly. They create these super PACs where they can spend as much money as they want. Democracy is not about Elon Musk spending $270 million to elect Donald Trump president. Let me tell you what a corrupt political system looks like. And it's not just billionaires buying elections. That's bad. It gets even worse than that. When Trump brought forth his big, beautiful bill, which is, in my view, by the way, you're all familiar with that bill, that is the most dangerous, disgusting piece of legislation ever passed in the modern history of this country. As you all know, this is a bill that gave, just think about it. At a time when the rich have never had it so good, gave $1 trillion in tax breaks to the top 1%. At a time when large corporations are enjoying record-breaking profits, they got a $900 billion tax break. But it's even more disgusting than that. Because these huge tax breaks for the rich, you know what they were paid for? They were paid for by $1 trillion cut in Medicaid and a large cut in the Affordable Care Act. They were paid for by a massive cut in nutrition programs for hungry kids. How disgusting is it to give a tax break to a billionaire and take food out of the mouth of kids who are hungry in this country?
All right, Senator Bernie Sanders out in